What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, I appreciate it as always. Thanks for rocking with me. I had a thought on my mind that I wanted to share, and then we can rock it out in the comment section. If you get anything out of this video, of course, give it a like and share it with someone. The question has been asked quite a bit, particularly on social media, barbershops. When those of us who are a little older, we look at the young generation and we try to have a little mercy, a little grace, because we know what it's like to have been teenager, 20s, mid 20s. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to give in to peer pressure. We know what it's like to, think that you have friends and you really don't have any. You're still trying to figure out life. So we get some of the things that's going on, but the question is still asked and comes up: what's up with the youth of today? What's going on, especially the young men, especially the young black men? The question comes up: what's up with the youth of today? What's going on? Why does it seem to be so out of hand in comparison to when we grew up in the 80s and 90s? And I want to tell a story that's going to it's going to relate to what I believe it boils down to. When I was 12 years old, I loved to play baseball. I was good at it, very good at it. Uh, Especially for my age, I learned how to play in Panama, where they didn't have a lot of real things that you would play baseball with. So me learning on a curve when we got to America, I was really good. And I remember my dad telling me I would play baseball in the summertime, young, 12, 13 years old. And during the school year, he would tell me, if your grades are not up, you're not going to be able to play baseball in the summer. That's what he would tell me. And year after year, I understood the purpose, I understood the mission. If you want to play baseball in the summer, you got to have A's and B's. You could have like one or two C's, but they had to be on the high side. They couldn't be like 71, 72%. And that's back in the day where we had like 7 classes a day, 6, 7 classes a day. I looked at my son thing last quarter, whatever. Like, y'all only got 4 or 5 classes. I remember like seemed like 7 or 8 classes, but I know times change. So I had to keep A's and B's. I could have maybe two C's, and they had to be like 78, 79, 77, like in that area. And one summer, or end of a school year, I had a D. And I could have applied myself and brought it up, but just being lazy, lackadaisical, not thinking, I let it go. My dad didn't say nothing. School year ended, and about beginning of June, they had baseball tryouts. Call it Babe Ruth back in the day. That was like from the ages of 13 to like 16, 17. And I went to the tryouts, and I made the team. It was the Dodgers. Most of the guys on the team, if not all of them, except for I think two of the kids, was not from my neighborhood. They were really good though. Everybody else is pretty much from my neighborhood. I was excited to be on the team. I get back home and my dad knew where I was, but he asked me, where was you at? I said I went to the tryouts, I made the team, I'm on the Dodgers. This is when our first practice is. He talked to the coach. My dad did. My son won't be playing on the team. His grades were not where they were supposed to be. And I had to go to all of the games. This is the only time this ever happened in my life, this opportunity right here. I went to all of the games that the Dodgers played that summer. I was probably at that time 14, 15 years old. So probably summer 90. between 90 and 91. They went undefeated that summer, probably 14, 15 and 0. I never played on an undefeated team of any sport, let alone baseball. I played on good teams, we lost maybe 2 or 3, but I've never played on an undefeated team in my entire life. That was the summer they went undefeated. And I had to watch every game and just sit there and ask myself why I didn't do what I was supposed to do. What do you think I did when school started in August? What do you think I had made up my mind going forward for the next school year so that it would not happen again? Absolutely. I made sure that my grades was high enough that this situation would never be able to come up again where I would not be able to play. And that brings me to my point about what I feel has gone on in the lives of young, particularly black men. I think that they have no purpose in their life. My father didn't sit me down and teach me that this is your purpose and this is what you must do and this is what you must become. He didn't have that conversation with me. But what he did was he let me know in order to get here, you need to do this. You want to play baseball, that's important to you. My concern for you is your grades, that you have a good education. That was giving me purpose, even if he did not use the word purpose. He was giving me purpose. My dad, early on, even before when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, took me into the yard on a Saturday, taught me how to put gas in a lawnmower. This was back in the day, way before people had push lawnmowers like that. I'm talking about just they weren't even all that fancy. You put gas in, you check the oil, you pull the handle, start up. If it don't, you tap, you push the button on the side, put a little air in there, try choke, try it again, use a choke, whatever. That's just all you had. The rope break, something you tied up with another rope, you tied on the handle. That's what we did. You yank halfway because you couldn't pull the rope all the way. You make that thing start. That's how we came up. Those of you who from that area, y'all know you wanted brand new shoes for school that wasn't what your parents was gonna buy. You had to go knock on doors, learn how to cut grass. So I remember the Saturday that he took me out. This is how you check the oil in the lawnmower. This is how you put gas in the lawnmower. This is how you cut grass in the lawnmower. You go in a straight line, turn around and take a little piece of what so you can cover some of what you cut so it's all cut and come back and then you turn around, cover a little piece and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth till it's smooth. Get the weed out, do this, whatever. The trimmer, the hedge trimmer, whatever, get it out. I'm gonna show you what to do. As I got older, come outside on a Saturday. This is how you change tires. This is how you change oil. He did not say, I'm giving you purpose, but he was teaching me that in your life, you must have purpose because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And I feel like that's what has happened with a lot of our young men today. If they do not have fathers or father figures or men in their lives that they can pay attention to, listen to, and that will give them instruction, then their minds become idle. And when your minds become idle, see, sometimes we watch the news, even in my own neighborhood a couple of weeks ago from the time this movie come out, right? Because I stay in a gated community, condos. No one would think that that kind of situation would take place right there in my neighborhood, right there in my complex. Two young ones, one lost their life. Assault rifle activity. So how in the world? Look like, for what I saw on one of the neighbors' cell phone, looked like the guy probably was maybe 23, 24 years old. So what's going on in the minds of young men? What's allowing them to see life so valueless? They do not value life. They act like and they treat one another as if this is a game. It's about the ops. It's about this. It's about get you first. They don't realize exactly what they are doing. You are taking someone from living into eternity, and that's a family member. We're not talking about someone that necessarily deserves it or has done something worthy of you taking them out. You're talking about simply disagreements that you can't get along. So one of y'all got to go. And we say, what in the world has happened to the minds of young men? I'm telling you what happened to the minds of some of our black youth is that they have no purpose. So their minds have become idle. And in that idleness, the enemy has set up a workshop to cause them to hate one another, despise one another, go against one another, take one another out. They have no purpose. They walk the streets, roam the streets. They smell like that stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You pull up to the light. They roll the window down, or it's already down. That's all. It's just the smoke coming all, the haze coming all out in your car. You can't even have a conversation what you got going on in your car because you got to roll up your window or turn on the AC or do different things. There's no respect for nobody. It's all about them. All they want to do is smoke that stuff and find something to bang on the weekends and then hang out. And you say, what's going on? No purpose. They have no mission, no objective, nothing in their life that is giving them structure to say, I need to accomplish this in my life if I'm trying to go there. They're just meandering through life every single day, one day at a time, with absolutely no purpose. And it comes from, and part of it comes from, these broken homes that we all sometimes are guilty of. Those of us who are part of that, the fathers who are not absent for who are absent, I'm sorry, the fathers who are absent for whatever reason, and they do not have the influence that they're supposed to have on that young man, teaching them order, structure, stability. So they're out in the streets trying to figure it out themselves, and you're not going to figure it out yourself till you at least 30 something. If you're doing it on your own, you're going to make many mistakes from the time you're a teenager. If you don't have a man's assistance or guidance or help, you're going to make many mistakes. And the influence that's going to be on your life is probably going to come from the streets, and the streets' value of life is low. So that's why we see what we see. That's why we see them taking each other out on the news. That's why we see them taking each other out in our neighborhoods. That's why we see them talking to grown folks with disrespect, because they do not have, and they were not handed down, purpose. See, the family structure, it was meant to be something. We ignored it. We didn't think that anything bad or evil was gonna come when this thing was ripped apart. So we just ignored it and let things go. And then when those seeds sprout up and them seeds become teenagers, then we look around and say, my goodness, the young people are out of control. Yeah, because they have no purpose. And purpose is generally given, if you look at the household, who gives the purpose? Who gives the structure? Who gives the order? It's the man. What happens when he is eliminated? What happens when, for whatever reason, the man is no longer either in the home or active with his child? What happens? We see a generation upon us right now who have no direction, no focus, no structure. They think life is a game, so we just take one another out and get up in the morning and do it all over again. So anyway, that was what's on my mind today. Thankful for my father and the things that he instilled in me. And when I look at the young generation, I try not to be too hard on them, because I say to myself, if I didn't have a father, I would have been in the same scenario, in the same situation that some of these young people are in. So y'all get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. How can we help them? Because at this point, honestly, they so hard headed now. They not There was a time where, the young folks was called OG or whatever, on OG. There was a time you could kind of get their attention and kind of sway them over a little bit, and they respected you if you've been around for a while, got a little knowledge. But now the disrespect is so strong, they don't even respect the OGs anymore. They just out there doing what they want to do, and you can't hardly talk to them. So as far as what exactly needs to be done, I would say we kind of have to start all over. And if you're going to have kids at this point, we're going to start over from somewhere. Make sure that you invest in their lives. Make sure that you're an active parent to a son or a daughter, and do everything you can to make sure that you instill in your children, even if you're not with the mother, Even if for whatever reason it has not worked out, do your best as a father in particular to instill principles, values, purpose, and structure into your children. Y'all got it? Bye.